So, Richard, I think we finally found a position for you in human relations like you requested. All correspondence to and from inmates is filtered through you.
Sal, I won't be able to send you money this week. Things are tight. Michael, the packaging code is incorrect. Chris, my love, I think about you every second of every day. I feel like every part of me is coming undone.
I feel your touch in my sleep. You are in my breaths of air. You are all the beams of sunshine that ever touch my skin. I imagine it is your warm hands on my body, stroking me. I feel you grow by the touch of my hands. An ocean is released deep inside of me.
Just checking in.
Yeah, it's really good. It's great. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much.
Alrighty then.
Adios.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Cherry the Geek TV. I'm Joe Vanourney, and it's getting to be that time of year where I always think I'm coming down with something. People say, "Are you coming down with a cold?" I say, "Nope." They say, "Are you coming down with the flu?" I say, "Nope." They say, "What are you coming down with?" And I tell them it's Oscar fever. And what better way to deal with Oscar fever than to talk Oscars? And today we're joined by the writer and director of one of the Oscar-nominated live-action short films. The name of the film is The Letter Room. And the name of the writer-director is Elvira Lind. Hi, Elvira. Thanks for joining us today.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Start off by saying congratulations on your Oscar nomination.
Thank you. Thank
I don't
you.
think the general movie-going public has an idea of how many quality short films are made every year. I'm on the
It's
board
true.
of a film festival in the Midwest, and I know that just for our smaller festival, we get over 1,000 short films submitted every year, and the judges spend
Wow.
6 or 7 months going through them and whittling it down to 70 that they have to play in the festival. And I know there's a lot of great films that they leave out. The
I know.
Oscars, that process is even harder. It's a little bit of a different process. There's a couple different ways to get nominated, but the main way is you have to win one of the 80 major festivals. You have to win an award. So you're competing with the best of the best. I think there were 179 films that qualified this year. They narrow it down to 10, and then that 10 is narrowed down to the 5, of which The Letter Room is one. So just the odds of getting nominated as an
I
incredible feat. So
know. Slim.
congratulations. Yeah.
Thank
Take
you
me
so
back to
much.
that. Take me back to that morning when you found out you were nominated. Were you watching live? Who was with you? What was going through your mind? Put me in the room.
Um, yeah, I was watching it live. I didn't want to watch it live. I said, no, I'm not gonna watch it. I'm too scared. Someone will tell me later. But then my husband wanted to watch it, and my producer was also very adamant that we watch it, and she called me on FaceTime. I didn't watch it because I was holding my face because I just couldn't watch. But I heard it and then I couldn't believe it. I
Yeah.
lied on the carpet for a bit. Just mind blown. Yeah.
Yeah, it must be. So I saw the film a few days ago. It's absolutely wonderful. It's a beautiful
Thank
story,
you.
beautiful characters. There's humanity, a deep humanity with the characters and the story. But for those that aren't familiar with it, describe The Letter Room. What is The Letter Room? What's it about?
So it's about a lonely man by the name of Richard who works in a prison where they have a death ward as well. And he gets a new job. We see him get a new job, and he gets moved to a letter room, the mail room, it's actually called, where he is to scan all the letters for inappropriate content. But then and he's like a hopeless romantic. We see him watch telenovelas at home, and and he starts reading passionately these letters from one woman to one of the inmates, and gets very involved in her writing. I think considers it's like an extension of the telenovelas. He watches it at home, but it's like the real version. So he gets involved in that, and then things start to happen. I'm not going to say too much. Should I? Or do I mean?
Yeah, don't spoil the don't spoil the ending. Let's
No.
just say it leads somewhere, and
Yeah.
there and it's
And it gets
it's
more
a very
dramatic suddenly.
beautiful place where it goes. This is your first narrative film. You come from a documentary background. You've made documentary shorts and documentary features. What was it about this particular story that made you want to leap into a narrative film?
It was actually more my situation because I'd long been wanting to do something about prisons, and I sort of studied that for a long time. And had always imagined that it would be more like in the dark world, but I think I was pregnant with my second child, and I'd had the story for a while, and in my brain that I told my husband and other people, and it was like it just kind of worked as a short. Um, and so when I was pregnant and another project kind of fallen apart, and I was like, what am I going to do? I had like a limited amount of time, and I was a little nervous to do fiction just because I hadn't done it before. So I think that's also why I just haven't like I needed a push. So that was the push. My producer, who is also a good friend, she was like, "Why don't we make a short?" And then my husband's like, "What about the story that you've been working on in your mind for so long?" And I was like, maybe I'll just write it down and like make it happen. And like it only existed like a treatment form. So then, and I'd never written a script, so it was really fun to try and do that. And it just kind of came together. And then we shot it when I was very pregnant. So yeah.
So
And
from your documentary background, making background, were there skills that you learned as a documentary filmmaker that you think were helpful in making a narrative film, or was it a brand new experience? And what were the challenges? Were there any challenges that you faced that you weren't expecting? Because it's not, the wheelhouse that you're
yeah.
used to.
So I think in my docs, I always have been very inspired by fiction. I think I've always wanted to also make fiction, but I just did, it's just two very different worlds. But I do verite documentary, so it's like all the scenes. I always was very inspired by fiction scenes when I was shooting my docs. So it the two things were inspired by each other in a way, and I thought I could apply more of the version of documentary filmmaking I do to fiction. So I was very adamant to have a very small crew and everything should be very contained. And it didn't really go that way because then you need more people, and I was working with an amazing DP, and I'm used to shooting all my own stuff, and suddenly you're like working with different departments, but it was magical when you suddenly have a whole team and you get together to make something like this. So it's like, yeah, I love
Now,
that. I really love having a group. It was a group effort. I wasn't a one-woman band anymore, which was really
right.
fun.
So the star of your film is Oscar Isaac. Our audience probably knows him best from the role of Poe Dameron in the latest Star Wars trilogy, and he's just got cast in the new Marvel Disney Plus series Moon Knight, and he's in the new Dune movie. So he's a big guy, big star. I know the answer to this question I'm about to ask, but for those that don't, how'd you get Oscar Isaac to be in your movie?
Well, I had
What's the relationship there?
I knew exactly when to put the script in front of him. That's why I just could. I had so many great opportunities to present it to him right at the good moment. Well, we live together and we have kids together, and we were having another kid together, and it was like. But he was also the one that encouraged me to do fiction. He's always wanted me. He always encouraged that, and my producer Sophia as well. Um, so I think he was excited to see me write and make something, and he was super excited to play Richard. I always had him in mind for this part, and it was like a really
That's
fun
that's a
collaboration to get
That's what I
Richard
was going to
coming.
ask. When you were writing and
Yeah.
conceiving the part of Richard, was he always who you were intending to go to? And when you were writing it, was he the face of in your mind of who was saying the words always from the
So
beginning?
always, I never knew he was gonna have that mustache because that was yeah, that was a great surprise. But it's just something about how he marries humor with also the sincere way that he can act, and just it's such a fine line that's very difficult, and that tone is really special, and he just knows how to walk that line really well. So yeah,
Do you
it's
find
really
it?
best.
Did you did you find that the fact that you know him so well when you're on set and you're directing him, was it just did that just make it super easy, or were there did you make him audition?
I did. Yeah. No.
So
I
so
mean,
directing him, did that was that an easy process then? Like, were you glad that you knew him so well going in that because
yeah,
he's
I mean, it was nice because it's always a little scary when you don't know how to work with actors, and he really, he was very kind to this first time fiction director, which also, is just because he's a very kind person, but also maybe because I was very pregnant with this child, that definitely helps. And then he was very patient, but we just have a great, we work together a lot on things in general. Like we always use each other a lot for inspiration and to talk through and read things together. And so it felt like just an extension of this long time collaboration that we have. So, and it was really fun to actually make something together. It's great.
yeah, awesome. Now he's not the only recognizable face in the film. You've also got Shawkat. People would know her from Arrested Development and Search Party. How did she come to the film? Did you know her beforehand? How'd you become involved?
I always imagined her also. It was like really just had always been that way. And the same with Brian Petzos, who plays Chris. Like it was just, yeah, yeah. It's funny how that works. Like you just have something in your mind, and she's so talented and wonderful, and also you can't really pin her down. Like she's just there's just so much going on, and I could just watch her act forever. Like she's fantastic. So yeah, it was. I was very happy that she wanted to do it. She came for the
There's
day.
there's a scene between her and Oscar in a restaurant conversation where they talk about, we won't spoil it, but they have a discussion, and it's just a beautifully written scene, beautifully shot. The performances, I think that scene it's towards the end of the film, and what they discuss kind of gives his character permission to move on and do what he ends up doing at the end.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful performances. Um, a lot of the film shot in a prison. Wait, was this an active prison? Were there actual inmates there? And what was
Yeah.
that experience? Was
It was wild, like, because it's just a logistical nightmare to shoot in an active prison. And some of it we shot in a prison that is now not a functioning prison anymore. But there is just something about being in that space, and you're just, oh, yeah, it's tough. Yeah, and it needed to be. I think it needed to for everyone to also understand the seriousness of what also the situation is, and part of the message of the film of like how these long-term sentences, and how I really don't believe in any good coming of that. So I think it was important to me that we could also feel the frustration and the claustrophobia and like a real prison. Just it was a jail actually. It's not the actor one was a jail in Nassau, but it is. I mean, it is an intense experience to be there. So it was. I think it was impactful for the whole crew. Yeah, but not
were
easy.
there was there anything, while you were shooting the film, uh,
Mhm.
first narrative first narrative film you're making, were there any surprises that the actors brought to it that when you had it on the page in your head and then they're on set and they do these performances, did they do anything that you were like, whoa, I didn't see that when I was conceiving this, but that's great. We're gonna use that. Were there any surprises like that?
I mean, Oscar's body language just I could not. I mean, it was so hysterically funny to me. It was like he would just do the little movements and like his little hips walking in. I don't know, he was just doing something that I could not stop laughing. It was just he just transformed. It was magical to watch. I mean, really wild. And yeah, it was a lot of fun to watch that happen, because he's just morphs into this other person, and that was, yeah. When it's someone
Awesome.
you know so well doing that, and then also making the words that you've written come to life like that, was really, yeah.
Now that you've got this narrative film under your belt, and you get an Oscar nomination,
Mhm.
what's in the future? Are you gonna pivot over to narratives? Are you still gonna do documentaries? You gonna do a little bit of both? What's next?
I'm gonna do a little bit of both. I
Yeah.
really love fiction. It was like love at first sight, or I don't know what you, but yeah, love at first film or whatever. I really enjoyed it. So definitely we're making more of that. I feel like more confident now. It was definitely a confidence issue, because for me, I've always had so many stories I wanted to tell. So it's like I am just so excited to kind of keep writing and doing more of that. So yeah, it'll be good. Be good
Well,
so
awesome.
far.
Well, thank you so much for talking with me.
Thank you.
People, if they want to watch the film, it's available on website topic.com. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And then there's also you can buy the entire 5 block series of the live action short films and the animated shorts and the documentary shorts at various websites. You can see the film that way. Any other ways they can see it? Or those are the two best
If
ways?
they're in Europe or other places, they can see it on Vimeo. It's available on Vimeo there.
Okay.
So
And there's
definitely.
some theaters. I know
Yeah.
some theaters that are open, art house theaters. I know always program those every year. It kind of depends on what city you're in and how they're dealing with COVID. So a lot of great ways to see the film. I highly recommend it. It's like I said, it's a wonderful film.
Thank
It's
you.
been a pleasure talking with you, and good luck on Oscar night.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye bye.